Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Business Spotlight. Joining me today is Paula Worthington, who is principal of Worthington PR and Story. Thanks, Paula, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start with the simple question of tell me what you do and what the company does.
So I'm the owner of Worthington PR and Story, and our main purpose is to help brands share their stories with the world. So whether that brand is a corporation, an entrepreneur, a not-for-profit, a social enterprise, we help them share their story, whether that be through PR, media relations, through social media, or through stakeholder communications. So it depends on the client, depends on the day, but we really try and be a one-stop shop for all things communications.
Let's talk a little bit about storytelling. And I know you and I have talked about this quite a bit in the past. Tell me why storytelling is so important these days, especially for brands and companies.
Well, it's always been important. And I think that more than ever, consumers are looking to build a connection with the brands that they trust. So whether it's we're shopping for something or we're looking to do business with somebody, usually we build a connection through a story. So it could be the story around why that company exists, what they stand for in terms of their brand values. It could be about their history. It could be about their leadership. But there's usually something, if we look at brands we know and trust and love, we usually have a great story about them. And chances are we were also led to them through a great story or experience in and of itself.
Yeah, and let's not forget too that stories touch an emotional part of most people, right?
Yeah, they certainly touch an emotion, and they give you something to really connect with. You can draw on your own personal experience when it comes to a story, and the biggest thing is they're memorable. Back in the day, it was oral storytelling, and that's how we passed information down. Or, a long time ago. Before digital, when people, as you know very well, Mario, got the newspaper delivered every day, and that's where they really found out what was happening in the world. And we still depend on that. Sure, it's now digital and social media and video, and the platform is changing, but I think that stories are truly the one thing that connects all of us.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the industry that you're in, public relations, marketing, communications, all that. What have been some of the major changes in the industry since the pandemic?
Oh, there's been a lot of changes. When the pandemic happened, we certainly found our work shifting as well to help clients get through those strange early days in particular. And a lot of it was really around having really clear and straightforward stakeholder communications that could help put people at ease and help give guidance on what to do next. A little bit separate from storytelling, but we're really seeing that people are looking to brands and leaning in on brands to help guide them, to see them as leaders in the community. And that puts a lot of responsibility on brands to get it right, to get their story right, and to share it in a really compelling and honest way. I think there's also, and this is a very general thing, but just a craving for very simple and straightforward communication. We are bombarded every day with literally thousands and thousands of messages. And I think that the simplest communication is often the most difficult to compile and put together, again, whether that's written or audio or video. And that idea that less is more is probably more relevant than ever.
Mm-hmm. Which leads me to the media, obviously, and it's one area that you as a company obviously have relationships with. How do you approach media today?
A lot of it's still based a lot on relationships. So I always try and build a really great relationship with the media. And I would say for people who are watching who may run their own business or work in a business, and you're looking to generate some PR, and you're doing it on your own, which is totally fine to do. Really try and build a relationship with the media and understand how their days and how their world works. I go either by phone or through email and try and connect with them and try and give them right off the bat a really great story angle. And I do my homework in advance. So I figure out what are they writing about? What kind of stories are they telling? And
Yeah.
making sure that what I'm trying to provide them with really fits in line with what they are trying to write about. And understand the constraints they have. They have time constraints, resource constraints. Before, media used to often have one beat or one topic that they would cover. And now, you're probably a testament to this too, but reporters and journalists have to cover a lot of stories during the day from a whole spectrum of beats, and the pressure to do it very, very quickly while still being very accurate has never been greater. So I think that from a PR perspective, if I can help them with, suggesting some information or providing some facts or some stats or some figures that are well sourced and well thought out, that might help them tell a better story, I just see that as being an important element of my job to do it right.
Now, I'm kind of curious about this in terms of exposure for companies and brands. We all know that the media world is challenged these days, and it's not like it used to be in terms of resources and space and time to cover stories and write about stories. That's a challenge, right? But on the other hand, you have so many things that have opened up to get the word out. A lot, the social media, YouTube, websites, all that type of stuff. Can you talk about the opportunity that all that has presented out there for brands and companies?
Yeah, I think it's presented brands a lot of confusion initially, because they need to figure out where they want to be, and there is truly so many opportunities available now. And what I tell clients is, first of all, think about your audience. So who is it you're trying to reach, and where are they hanging out? Are they hanging out on YouTube? Are they listening to Spotify? Are they reading the news? So figuring that out is a good step, and that'll probably help you figure out 5 or 6 channels that are going to be most important to you. And then the second thing we think about is earned, owned, and paid channels. So earned channel could be a great news story where the news wants to cover your company because something incredible is happening, whether it's a grand opening or reaching a milestone or new leadership, whatever that could be. Your owned channels would be, and these are sometimes neglected, but within your, as a corporation, your website, your blog, your social media, your employee communications, your customer communications, your newsletter, and making sure that you're leveraging those, because you have a very attentive audience to those who are reading those or listening to those or watching those, depending on what it may be. And then you're paid, which, you may see a publication that you really want to be in and you really want to get that exposure, and that might require an investment, but that would feel right for the story you're trying to tell and who you're trying to tell it to. So we really try and give our clients sound advice across those 3 channels to find the right mix and the right channels for them to tell their story.
Okay, can you talk a little bit, Paula, about the advice that you would give for a business just starting on their marketing journey?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you want to go, and I think, again, it can feel really overwhelming. And my first thing would be to say, don't try and do it all at once, because there's just so much you can be doing. I'm a big fan of, especially if someone is just starting out, of doing 1 or 2 or 3 page plan with specific channels of what you want to do and who you're trying to reach and what budget you have associated with that. And the biggest thing is associating a timeline with it. It's one thing to say that you want to do something, but when you hold yourself accountable to a timeline or a date, then that helps it bring it into reality. So whether it's breaking down the year into quarters, or a 30, 60, 90-day plan, and then we're going to stop and evaluate, I would start with that. And then I would also add on a feedback loop so that you know whether your marketing is working. So whether you're looking at various analytics, or simply if you're a small business and someone might say, I don't know, analytics, that's too much for me, which analytics can be very simple or very complicated. But even just going out to your stakeholders and issuing a simple survey and saying, hey, we want to hear from you. We want to know what you're reading, what you're watching. Can you answer some questions for us and get back to us? So I think being able to put things out there, evaluating success, and then asking your customers how you're doing are three really simple things that you can do as you start out.
Okay, I got Mario's Widgets starting company. I am looking for a PR person to get the word out. Tell me why I should hire you.
Oh, well, uh, we love widgets. Um, I think it's really, years of experience. I've been in the business for a long time. We're really passionate about the clients we work with. We don't say yes to everybody. We really try and find clients that fit with our culture and what we think our strengths are, because ultimately you have to have a partner that meets your strengths. I think we have great relationships with media, and we've been doing this long enough that we know what works and what doesn't work, and we have a decent amount of confidence when it comes with that. And I think that we're very creative too. So we could pull off a pretty great PR stunt for your widgets too if we had the opportunity.
My favorite that you did fairly recently was the rum with Brett the Hitman Hart and Romero was the company, right?
Yes, and they earned a Guinness World Record for the largest Cuba Libre on the planet just before Stampede. So that was an exciting day. A
Yeah.
dramatic day. It was very dramatic to see them fill the container, and a really exciting and interesting brand, local brand that's now a Guinness World Record holder, and a fun way to really highlight what they do and how they do it.
So tell me, I don't know if you can share the names of your clients, but can you tell me just a little bit about maybe who some of your major clients are, kind of industries and sectors that they're in?
Yeah, we work with a huge variety of clients, and we love profiling them on our social channels. For me, being Alberta born and raised, it was really important to have some great Alberta clients, but we do also have national clients as well. In the Calgary space, we have the opportunity to work with brands like Calgary Co-op and ATB and University of Calgary Properties Group. And then we also have some really great work happening with not-for-profits and charities in the city. So we've worked for a long time with the Women in Need Society, and we're just in the process of getting started with some other amazing social enterprises and not-for-profits. And then we also have some tourism clients. So we work with a few local and regional tourism boards and really help them tell their story. And as well as Lynx Air, which recently took off from Calgary. So a really great mix of amazing brands that are all in growth mode and are innovative and unique and creative. And I think we really thrive off each other in that way.
Okay, tell me a little bit about yourself, Paula, and how you got involved in this industry and why.
I think I've always been a storyteller at heart. One of my passions outside of running the business is I love photography, and for years I've also been a freelance travel writer, where I've had the chance to globetrot and really uncover super unique and interesting places and stories, and that will always be a passion of mine. So that always has run deep. I think I got into the industry because I love business, but I also love the artistic side and creativity. And I think that communications and PR lets you combine the two together. You need to understand business, and you need to understand how to manage projects and meet deadlines and measure results and KPIs and all of that. But you also really need a spark of creativity. I have always been a fan of great writing. I've been a reader my whole life. My dad is a retired English teacher, and he's a writer. He's written, he just wrote his first novel in the past year, which is exciting. Cool. Yeah, so I think it's always run close to my heart, and I'm always looking for new ways to tell stories. And I really love working with companies that have a great sense of community and a people first culture to them. And I've always wanted to be in a position to help support them because I think they're doing great things.
All right, super, Paula. So how can people reach you?
They can reach us at worthingtonpr.com. From there, you can check out our social media channels. Worthington PR Story, and they can reach out to me directly at paula@worthingtonpr.com. And we are newly housed in the Bell Line, so they can check out our office as well.
All right, super. Well, thanks a lot for joining us today, Paula.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that was Paula Worthington, who is principal of Worthington PR and Story. I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Business Spotlight. Thanks for joining us today.